Let's begin by offering our respects to the founder Acharya of ISKCON, our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Pancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly Bhagavad Gita classes. We have Auntie Nita, Devi, Dipti Adani, Disha Melwani, Jagruti, Joli Nandwani, Bhumika, Karuna Jadwani, Khushbu, Lavina, Manju, Ed C. Venkatchari. Then we have Pavani. My parents are there. Then we have Ritu Lalwani, Sandra, Shri Hari Radha, Shivani, Venkatesh A, Vivansh, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, and Meenakshi. Okay. So what did we see in the previous class?
We learned that whatever blessing that we get from a demigod, that originally comes from Krishna.
Okay, there is a lot of background noise there, Vivansh.
Sorry, my father's talking on a call with my friend.
So I'm not able to understand what is saying because too many voices. See, in the previous class, we saw the four categories of people who begin to render devotional service and eventually surrender to Krishna. Previous to this, in verse 15, Krishna spoke about those four categories of people who never surrender to him. So then, therefore, in 16, he goes on to say that there are four kinds of pious men who begin to render devotional service. So they start off with bhajante, they start off their devotional lives. And who are these four people? Those who are distressed, those who desire wealth, those who are inquisitive, and those who are searching for knowledge of the absolute. Now, when we spoke about these four categories of people, we saw an example for each of these categories. So when we discussed the distressed, whose pastime did we discuss? Someone who surrendered when he was in distress was? His leg was caught by a crocodile.
Gajendra.
Gajendra, yes. Then desirer of wealth, whose example we saw?
Dhruv.
Dhruv Maharaj, yes. Then inquisitive,
Sutra Goswami.
yes, very nice. And he who is searching for the knowledge of the absolute, we saw the example of
Dhruva.
searching for the knowledge of the absolute. The one who was in the womb of his mother for 16 years.
Vedavyasa?
Sukadeva Goswami.
Yeah, Sukadeva Goswami, and Vedavyas is the father, right? So the father wanted that the son should come out of the womb, and therefore he brought Krishna. Okay. So distressed was Gajendra, desirer of wealth was Dhruv, the inquisitive were the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, who inquired from Sutta Goswami, and searching for the knowledge of the absolute truth was Sukadeva Goswami. Now, what does Krishna say here? Out of these four people, who is the best? Who is the best, Krishna says?
Jnani.
The Jnani. Isn't it? One who is in full knowledge and is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. Then Krishna says, I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Now again, Krishna says that, okay, make sure that you don't misunderstand me. That doesn't mean that the other three are not dear to me. The other three are also important. Then Krishna, so therefore Krishna in the next verse, he says, all these are undoubtedly magnanimous souls. Not that only the Jnani is magnanimous, but all the four of them are magnanimous. Why? Because at least they are beginning to render devotional service, even though it is because they want something in return, because somebody is distressed, desiring wealth, inquisitive. Although they have their own personal reasons, or it's for their own benefit that they are surrendering, but still, because they are surrendering, Krishna says that they are magnanimous souls. Then he says, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be like my own self. So this Jnani, Krishna says that I consider to him to be equal to me. Why? Because he is engaged in transcendental service. And because he is engaged in transcendental service, definitely he will attain me, Krishna says. And then Krishna says that he is the highest and the most perfect goal. So this is another verse that shows what is the position of Krishna compared to the other demigods. Now, what does Krishna say next? Now, what happens to this Jnani, this Jnanavan? After many, many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. So this Jnani or the Jnanavan, now he surrenders to Krishna, but even that will take him many, many births and deaths. What about the other three? What about the distress, the desire of wealth, and the inquisitive? They have to come to the level of the Jnani. And after they come to the level of the Jnani, then after many births and deaths, eventually they will surrender to Krishna. Why? Because one has to be materially detached. One should be free of the material disease in order to be able to surrender to Krishna. Then Krishna says that even that jnani, even the one who surrenders, out of many people who actually surrender, such a great soul is very rare. So even amongst the jnanis, there are very few rare souls who eventually surrender to Krishna. So it's not a joke if one is rendering devotional service and if one has surrendered to Guru and Krishna, then one is the rarest of the rare souls on the planet. Then Krishna goes on to discuss those who surrender, but not to Krishna. Whom do they surrender to? They surrender unto the demigods. They surrender unto the devatas. Now, Krishna says that these people, their intelligence has been stolen by material desires. Now, what is so unintelligent to serve the devatas? Who can say?
When you're serving devatas, you still, whatever benediction you get, it's coming from Krishna. So therefore, instead of serving them, you should serve directly Krishna, and you'll get the same thing.
You'll get the same thing, okay? But one may argue, okay, whether I get it from Krishna, whether I get it from the devata, I'm getting what I want. So what does
What
it
you
mean?
get from
From devata,
not-
what we get, it is temporary.
It is temporary. Why it is temporary?
Because they are also temporary.
Yes, because the devatas have a certain time period, right? Like we know Brahma lives for 100 of his years. According to our earthly calculation, it's trillions of years. But when his time period comes to an end, then even Lord Brahma has to leave the post. So the devatas are actually post. It's a post. And when one person finishes his term, then another living entity who is qualified can take up that post. So the devatas themselves are temporary. Their abodes are temporary. Therefore, the benedictions that you get from a devata is also temporary. For example, Hiranyakashipu. Now, Hiranyakashipu did tapasya, austerity for 10,000 years. He did a lot of tapasya. He was standing on one foot, and his hands were raised, and his body was completely eaten by ants. So much, such intense austerity he performed. But how long was he able to enjoy the boons that he got from Lord Brahma? After 10,000 years of tapasya.
He enjoyed them for a long time until Rama killed him.
No, Hiranyakashipu was not killed by Brahma. Who killed Hiranyakashipu?
Narsimha.
Yeah, Lord Narsimha Dev, isn't it? Narsimha Dev appeared as a half man, half lion from the pillar to protect Prahlad, because Hiranyakashipu wanted to kill his own son Prahlad because Prahlad was a devotee. So but for how many years? So therefore, see, what was Brahma's boon? Brahma's boon was that nobody will kill him neither in the day nor in the night. He will not be killed inside the house nor outside the house. He will be killed by neither a human being nor animal nor of anybody who's living in
Demigods
the planetary systems, right? And then, so like that, Hiranyakashipu asked for so many boons, and he thought that now, because of these boons, he's immortal. Initially, he said he wants immortality, but Brahma said he cannot give him the boon of immortality because he himself is not immortal. So then he's Hiranyakashipu, he thought that he's going to ask for all these long list of boons, wherein eventually he will gain immortality. So after 10,000 years of tapasya, he got these boons, but eventually he was able to enjoy it for only 5 years. Only 5 years. Because when Prahlad was 5 years old, Lord Narasimhadev appeared from the pillar in the half man, half lion form. Why half man, half lion? Because not completely human being nor completely animal. And he killed him on the windows, by the window, so, or the door, because then he's not either he's neither fully inside the house nor fully outside the house. He killed him at the time of Sandhya period, which was neither in the day nor in the night, which was another boon that Hiranyakashipu had asked. No, I should die neither in the day nor in the night. So that eventually he was killed by Narsimha Dev. So you see how although he got the boon from Devata, from Lord Brahma, he was able to, after 10,000 years of austerity, he was able to enjoy it only for 5 years. So is it very intelligent to spend 10,000 years of your life to do austerity, to please a Devata, and then the boon you get is only for 5 years? But in contrast, when you get the boon from Krishna, it is eternal. because he only can give you liberation. He only can give you that which can last forever, last eternally. One of Krishna's names means he's the giver of liberation. What name is that? What name of Krishna means he's the giver of liberation?
Mukunda.
Mukunda. Yes, Mukunda. Okay. All right. So then Krishna says here, see, when we discussed this in the previous class, they follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So if one is in the mode of ignorance, one is in the mode of passion, then one follows those Puranas or those modes of worship that are recommended in those particular Puranas. So there are 6 Puranas for people who are in the mode of goodness, 6 Puranas for those who are in the mode of passion, and 6 others for people in the mode of ignorance. So according to the nature, one follows the particular rules and regulations of worship. Why? Because Shastra does not leave out anyone. It includes everyone at whatever level one may be at. Then Krishna says that he is in the heart of every living entity as a super soul. So he's in the heart of the demigod as well as he's in the heart of the worshipper of the demigod. And then Krishna says, as soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his fate steady. So even if we want to worship a devata, we cannot do it on our own. Even that much capacity we do not have. Krishna in the heart, he strengthens the faith so that we can worship that particular devata. And then because Krishna is also in the heart of the devata as the super soul, uh, uh, Krishna also empowers the devata to give those benefits, because Krishna says, endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. So even the devatas, they cannot act independently from Krishna. Even when they give any benefits, they are actually empowered to do so by Krishna only. So today we have to start from verse number 23. Does anybody have any question or doubts before we proceed?
Madhuri, can I ask you one question? So, as you said that demigod position is also not forever. So, when their time is up, do they come? Do they come to the earth? Do they get like human birth?
Yeah, see, one thing about bhakti is anybody can perform bhakti anywhere, anytime, at any place. If the devata performs devotional service and perfects his life, then he can get an upgrade and he can proceed to the spiritual realm. But if he does not engage in bhakti, then he has to come back to the material. So that,
then it's just,
yeah. So
then
it's,
there is,
see, the thing is, if you have reached Brahma Loka, then it is more probable that along with Lord Brahma, the residents of Brahma Loka are engaged in devotional service and they can proceed higher. And those in the heavenly planets, in the planet of Lord Indra, where there is so much opulence, although one can engage in bhakti, because bhakti, there are no conditions, anyone can engage in devotional service. But because there is so much opulence there, it is less probable that they will engage in devotional services. It's not impossible, but less probable in the heavenly planets. Okay.
so is it right to say that all the demigods at one time have been like a human being just like us?
The first birth that the living entity gets, when the soul drops from the spiritual world, the first body that one gets is that of Lord Brahma. And then we fall down and get all these other bodies. So if the,
When you say,
if the living entity has just now fallen his first fall and now he is Lord Brahma, then you cannot say that he has taken a human birth. Because it's like the waves of the ocean. You cannot define.
so after Brahma, what body will they get? Like if they don't go up? We
No,
don't know
that's
that, right?
what. So no, that's what. If they don't go up, then again, depending on which level they are, what is their desire and what is their deserve, they will get a suitable body. It's not always the same. It's not a one size fits all.
It is said that demigods, when their pious activities are all finished, they come to this earth they come to the womb of the devotees, Vaishnavas, so they can start their bhakti again and get a real nice birth. This is what happens to them.
Yes, but again, it depends on what one desires and what one deserves. Not only Devatas, even us, no. When we engage in devotional service and then we get the body according to what we desire and what we deserve.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, who can read today?
May I?
Yes, Lavina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So Krishna now continues his discussion on the worship of the Devatas.
अन्तवत्तु फलं तेषां तद्भवत्यल्पमेधसां देवान् देवयजो यान्ति मद्भक्ता यान्ति मामपि.
Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planet of demigod, but my devotee ultimately reaches my supreme planet.
So here say Krishna is saying that the worshipper of the demigod is a man of small intelligence. He's saying men of small intelligence worship the demigods. He's calling them Alpa Medasa. See, Alpa Medasam. So Alpa Medasa means those of small intelligence. Why does he say that? Because Krishna is saying that the fruits are limited and temporary. Whatever boons they give, that is limited and it is temporary. And then he's talking about how the destination is different for those who worship the demigods and for those who worship Krishna. He's saying that those who worship the demigods go to the planet of the demigods. So if one is worshipping a Devata, then they will go to that planet where that Devata is residing. But my devotees, Krishna says, ultimately reach my supreme planet. So if you worship Krishna, then you will go to Krishna's planet. So we know that Krishna's planet, Goloka, Vaikuntha, is the spiritual world from which we don't have to come back again. But if we worship the Devatas and let's say we are going to Swarga and we are going to heavenly planets, or we go to Brahma Loka, then because that Brahma Loka itself is going to be destroyed when the lifespan of Lord Brahma gets destroyed. Therefore, then again we have to come back. So we worship the demigod, we go to the planet of the demigod, but because that planet is temporary, therefore we cannot permanently reside there. But if we worship Krishna, then eventually we will go to Krishna. So Krishna is not saying that it's okay, whomever you worship, anywhere, eventually everybody has the same destination. Everybody has the same destiny. No, it's not the same. It's not the same, because this is something that people very often, very loosely, very casually comment that it's okay, doesn't matter, whomever you worship, whatever you do, any path you follow, eventually you're going to go at the same place. No, the destination is the same for everyone. No, it's not the same for everyone. Krishna is saying, if you worship the demigods, you go to the planet of the demigods. If you worship me, you come to my supreme planet. So we know that there are different religions, there are different faiths. So why these different religions and different faiths exist is so that they can include everyone and accept them at whatever level they are. Now, let's say some child is in the nursery school. In that child in the nursery school, we cannot teach him quantum physics, for example. We can only teach him some nursery rhymes, say Jack and Jill went up the hill. That's what you can teach the child. Now, is that Jack and Jill went up the hill wrong? Is it wrong or it is correct?
Is correct.
Correct.
It is correct, isn't it? But it is not the highest knowledge. It is correct, but it is not the highest knowledge. So therefore, there are different faiths. It's not that they are bogus. They are genuine, but they are accepting people according to what level they are at. It is not, they will take more lifetimes to reach the spiritual world. But in contrast, if one is worshipping Krishna, one is engaged in pure devotional service, then you can go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime itself. That is the difference. So this statement that it's okay, whomever we worship, whichever faith, eventually the destination is the same for everyone. No, that's not what Krishna's message is in the Bhagavad Gita. So why Alpa Medasa? Why are they less intelligent? Because they settle for something much lesser than the best. Settle for something temporary instead of eternal. Example, choosing an engineering college with a degree valid for a few years. Now let's say one has to choose a university, and there is this university who tells you that yes, you can come here, you don't have to pay, you pay half the fees, but the degree will be valid only for 5 years. After 5 years, this degree will not cease to be valid, so then you have to study again. In contrast to that, you go to an engineering college where the degree is valid for the rest of your lifetime. So which engineering college would you choose? The one where you pay less, but you get a degree only valid for 5 years? Or on the other hand, you pay the full fees, but the degree is valid for the rest of your lifetime. Which is more intelligent decision?
The degree for the
Therefore-
rest of your life.
Definitely, isn't it? So in the case of other worship, Devata worship, maybe the level of surrender is less. But what you get in return is temporary. It's not going to last forever. In contrast, when you surrender to Krishna, when you worship Krishna, then what you get is going to last for you forever. Just we gave the example of Hiranyakashipu, how he meditated, he did tapasya for 10,000 years, but he could enjoy that for only 5 years. That's all. So demigods blessing their planets, their worshippers, and demigods themselves, they are all temporary. That's why demigod worshippers are called as less intelligent. See here in this photo. Can you interpret what is happening here? This person here wants knowledge. Therefore, he is worshipping goddess
Saraswati.
Saraswati. Eventually, he is gone to the planet where goddess Saraswati resides. This person wants good health. So, he is worshipping?
Durga.
No. Whom do we worship for good health?
Good health.
Sun god?
Sun god. So, therefore, now he has gone to the planet where the sun god is residing. Here you can see he's worshipping the sun god. He's got good health. Then he goes to the planet of Surya Dev. Here, if a girl is attracted and she wants a good husband, then she prays to goddess
Parvati.
Parvati. And then eventually she will go to the planet where that particular goddess resides. So Krishna compares the destination of demigod worshippers with that of his bhaktas. Now, one may say demigod worshippers put the same amount of effort into their pursuits as do the bhaktas. So they are putting in the same amount of effort. Why then do their results differ so vastly? If they are putting in the same effort, why do the results vary so much? So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur answers, we go to whomever we worship. The demigods, along with their fruits, will all be destroyed, whereas Krishna, his service, his devotees, and his abode are all eternal. So that's why there is a difference in the results. See, demigods are under the jurisdiction of Krishna. Okay, Lavina, you have raised your question. I mean, you have a
Yeah, I had a question. Means then Shiva is also a demigod or a god?
See, Lord Shiva, Shiva Tattva is very difficult to explain and very difficult to understand because Lord Shiva is in between. He is not fully material and he's not fully spiritual. He's in between the material and the spiritual world. He is not completely a living entity, but he's not completely also the supreme personality of Godhead. So in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma explains that the difference between Krishna and Shiva is the difference between milk and yogurt. From milk, you can make yogurt, but from yogurt, you cannot make milk. So milk is Krishna, yogurt is compared to Lord Shiva. See, what is Lord Shiva's position is that, see, the Srimad Bhagavatam explains Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. So that means Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. And also Lord Shiva, he is the father, he is considered to be the father of the universe. Shiva and Durga, they are the father and mother of the universe because Lord Shiva, see, when there is creation, at the time of creation, these planets are coming out from the body of Mahavishnu. Yes. Now, initially they are in the unagitated stage, like they are in the dormant stage. This universe is activated when Mahavishnu glances at Durga. When Mahavishnu glances at material energy, that glance takes the form of Shambhu. And then Shambhu and Durga, they unite. And then all the living entities enter into the womb of Durga Devi. And from there, everyone begins their journey in the universe. Okay. So because everybody is coming from the womb of Durga Devi, therefore, Durga and Shiva, they are considered to be the father and mother of the universe. So because Lord Shiva is coming in touch with material energy, because he is uniting with her, no? So he is come in contact with material energy. Therefore, he is not completely the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, Vishnu, Tattvas, they are completely spiritual. They don't touch material energy in any case, right? Completely. Therefore, they are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But because Lord Shiva has come into contact with material nature, therefore, he is not completely the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is in his own tattva. He is not Jiva tattva. Jiva tattva means us and the devatas. We are all Jiva tattvas. We are all living entities. And Vishnu tattva, Supreme Personality of God, like Narasimha Dev, Vamana, Krishna, they are Narayan, they are all Vishnu tattvas, right? Supreme Personality of God, Lord Ram also. But Lord Shiva is in his own tattva. Okay, so he's in between.
Thank you.
But if you see, even when there was a confrontation between Krishna and Shiva, there is a battle. Actually, Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna, they fought a battle. And eventually, even Lord Shiva was bewildered by Krishna. Now, Lord Shiva is a very, very elevated personality, very, very elevated personality. So, nobody can bewilder Lord Shiva. Only Krishna. Okay, so even Lord Shiva was bewildered by Krishna. Who can say when?
When Krishna had that, he became the very beautiful woman.
Yes,
And
when
Shiva
Krishna
wanted
became Mohini, isn't it?
Mohini
Mohini
Murti.
avatar, yeah.
Yeah, that time Shiva was completely bewildered. He was running after Mohini. But who can do that to Lord Shiva? Nobody can do it. Okay, he is the most perfect Vaishnava. He is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. He's the greatest Vaishnava. So nobody can do that to Lord Shiva. He's such an exalted personality. But Krishna is the only one who can do it. Okay.
Thank you.
Mataji, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Just now, when you said Shiva is his own tattva, so if you compare Shiva and Lord Brahma, who is like on the highest?
Lord Shiva.
Even he's higher than Brahma as well.
Because Lord Shiva is between the material and the spiritual worlds. Lord Brahma is completely in the material world.
Okay. So one can attain, like from planet Earth, we can go to Lord Brahma and everybody, but nobody can attain Shiva's pose. Correct?
Lord Shiva, there is one form of Lord Shiva who's there in the Vaikuntha planets also. Actually, there are 11 Rudras. There is not one or two. What we know is the more popular Lord Shiva is the one who's with Parvati, the father of Ganesh, right? He's the
Yeah.
more, but actually there are 11 Rudras and there is one even in the Vaikuntha planets. But we have we have very little information about him. How does he look? What does he do? There is no information, at least in the Veda base.
So that means one cannot attain the post of Shiva, right? No matter what you do.
Yes, yes. That is my understanding. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so demigods are under the jurisdiction of Krishna. Whenever there is a confrontation, they have had to accept defeat. So this is Govardhan Leela. This was Krishna versus Lord Indra. You can read the story if you go to your Veda base, go to 10th canto, chapters number 24 to 27 are dedicated to this Govardhan Leela. In this Govardhan Leela is very unique because in this Leela, all the devotees, irrespective of which rasa they are, we know that there are 5 mellows or 5 rasas one can share with Krishna, 5 principal rasas, right? We have Shantaras, Dasyaras, then we have Vatsalyaras, Madhuryaras, like that there are rasas. And in this pastime of Govardhan Leela, all those devotees of all the rasas, they all participated. So therefore, Govardhan Leela is a very, very special Leela. You can read it here. So here we see Indra, eventually he accepted defeat and he offers prayers to Krishna at the end of this Leela. Then the epic battle between Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva. So actually there was a battle because there was a demon called Banasura who was a devotee of Lord Shiva. He had 1,000 arms. And in order to protect Banasura, Lord Shiva what is that word? Anyway, there was a battle between there was a confrontation. There was a confrontation between Lord Shiva and Krishna. And you can see all the devatas also, they got involved in this battle. Very, very interesting chapter. You can go to your Vedabase and see 10th canto, chapter number 63. You can see Lord Ganesh is there. And you have Lord Brahma. You can see Lord Shiva is yawning. So actually, Lord Krishna bewildered Lord Shiva by sending the yawning weapon. Like that. So you can read this chapter here. We'll not get into. No, this is Lord Brahma here on the swan. Okay. And then Brahma Vimohana Leela, the pastime of bewildering Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma stole the calves and the cowherd boys, and then Krishna expanded himself as each of those cowherd boys, as each of those calves. And when Brahma came back to see what was happening, he saw that Krishna was actually each of these personalities that Lord Brahma had stolen. So then Lord Brahma accepts the supremacy of Krishna and he offers prayers. So you see, whenever there is a confrontation between the demigods and Krishna, they have had to accept defeat.
Mataji, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
But don't demigods, they know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right?
Yes, they know, but sometimes they tend to forget. Because what happened in the case of Lord Brahma was Krishna had just killed this demon, and Brahma was thinking, is this little boy really the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because Brahma had gone to see, and then that time Krishna was having his lunch with his friends, right? He was exchanging lunch boxes, and Krishna is like eating from the lunch boxes of different people, and they are exchanging. So Brahma was like, what's going on? Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So therefore he was like, okay, let me play a trick. So sometimes they tend to forget. Okay, you must remember that the demigods, they become pure devotees over a period of time. It's not that they are already pure devotees. They become pure devotees. Because if they were pure devotees, they would not be in the material world yet. They would have been in the spiritual world, isn't it? So they become pure devotees. So therefore, they tend to forget. They tend to come under the influence of Maya sometimes. And then Krishna brings them back on track.
Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna.
So see this verse. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential weapons. So who is this incarnation that is being spoken of here?
Lord Chaitanya.
Ah, yes, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So his complexion is not black like Krishna. What is the complexion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Molten gold,
Ah, why is he molten gold?
because he's in the mood of Radharani.
Because Srimati Radharani is golden complexion, no? Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Sri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. So her complexion is golden. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combined form of Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Therefore, the complexion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is golden. He's called as the golden avatar. So in the age of Kali, intelligent people perform congregational chanting to worship that personality of Godhead who sings the name of Krishna. So therefore, we are all followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Our sampradaya is called as the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Gaudiya means connected to Gauranga, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is first class bhakti? Because Krishna is saying that those who worship the devatas, they are less intelligent. So what is first class bhakti? As we have discussed, Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. When the devotional service is devoid of all material desires, then that is first class bhakti. Okay. Now let us take some examples. Now you tell me if this is bhakti or bhukti. Is this devotion or is this sense gratification? Ma murade puri kar de, halwa bantugi. Is this bhakti
No,
or this is
that's
bhukti?
not bhakti. That's self
Sense
gratification.
gratification.
Isn't it? Now, to dress up Lord Ganesh as a cricketer, that's
That's
bhakti
Sense
or bhukti?
gratification.
Sense
gratification.
gratification.
Yeah, just because one likes cricket, one is fanatic for cricket, and one wants India to win the World Cup. You dress Lord Ganesh as a cricketer with a bat and a ball. That's not bhakti, right? Then
This
going
is
for
also
Dandiya, well dressed and clicking photos and
Sense
having this
gratification.
fashion show and putting it
Sense
up on social
gratification.
media. It is again sense gratification.
sense
So this is
gratification.
not bhakti. Bhakti means anya abhilashita shunya. I have no other desire than to please the Lord.
So,
Let's go to verse number 24.
अव्यक्तं व्यक्तिमापन्नं मन्यन्ते मामबुद्धयः परं भावमजानन्तो ममाव्ययमनुत्तमम्.
unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme.
So now Krishna talk about unintelligent men, abudhaya. Abudhaya means unintelligent. So what are these unintelligent people thinking? They think that Krishna has come from the Brahman effulgence. So Brahman effulgence is the supreme, and from that Brahman effulgence, Krishna has come. So Krishna is saying that these people who think so, they are abudhaya, they are unintelligent. Why? Because it is vice versa. From Krishna comes the Brahman effulgence. Why? Because the Brahman effulgence is the light that emanates from Krishna's body. So unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was impersonal before and now have assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature. So they think that Krishna is inferior to the Brahman effulgence. But actually, Krishna is higher. In fact, he's the highest. Then he says, which is imperishable and supreme. So Krishna's nature is imperishable and supreme. It does not come to an end. The Krishna eternally lives as a 16-year-old boy in Goloka. He does not grow old. Eternally, he is there as a 16-year-old boy. So Krishna's nature is imperishable and supreme. So this is actually the Mayavad philosophy. The Mayavadis, they preach like this, that from the Brahman effulgence, personalities like Krishna and Rama, they appear. But see, Lord Chaitanya has given us a warning. Lord Chaitanya says, Mayavadi bhashya sunile aya sarvanasha. If you hear from a Mayavadi, your spiritual life will be finished. So one must be very careful whom one is hearing from. Let's go to the next.
नाहं प्रकाशः सर्वस्य योगमाया समावृतः मूढोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम्.
I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my eternal potential, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible.
So I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. So those people who are foolish and unintelligent, Krishna does not manifest in front of them. See, sometimes people say, I cannot see God. Where is God? If God, you really exist, prove it to me. But Krishna or God is not so cheap that he is going to come in front of you to prove that he exists, right? Just as how, let's say there is an uneducated person in one remote village in the country, and he says that, what do you mean by prime minister? Or what do you mean by the president? How can there be such an important personality in the country? So if he really exists, let him come and prove his existence. Let him come in front of me and prove his existence. Is the president interested in going to that remote village and proving his existence to that uneducated person? Is that going to happen? Yes or no?
No.
No, isn't it? So therefore, Krishna is telling us here that he has the right to decide whom he wants to manifest himself to. So therefore, Krishna is saying, I never manifest to the foolish and the unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency. So what is his internal potency? Yoga.
Halad, Yoga Shakti Yal.
Yeah, Yoga Maya. Krishna is using the word here, Yoga Maya. And therefore, they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So, Krishna, for those people, Krishna is covered by the Yoga Maya. And therefore, they do not understand that Krishna is Ajam and Avyayam, that he is unborn and infallible. See, yoga, the word yoga means to unite, right? And Maya means, actually, Maya means that who makes a disconnection. So Yoga Maya are actually two words that have contradictory meanings. See, how does Yoga Maya play? Yoga Maya covers Krishna so that those who are unintelligent, they are faithless, they cannot see Krishna as he is. The expansion of Yoga Maya is Mahamaya. Mahamaya works in the material world. Yoga Maya works in the spiritual world. Now, Mahamaya cannot touch Krishna because again, we know that Krishna is completely untouched by anything that is material. So therefore, Krishna is covered by Yoga Maya. Now, Yoga Maya helps devotees to go closer to Krishna. For example, even Yashoda and the residents of Vrindavan, they are all covered by the potency of Yoga Maya. But not because they are not devotees. In fact, they are pure devotees. But because they are covered by Yoga Maya, they are able to share a more intimate relationship with Krishna. Because they forget that Krishna is God, because they are covered by Yoga Maya, and they forget that Krishna is God, they are able to share an intimate relationship with Krishna. Now, let's say Yashoda actually knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Will she be able to chase Krishna with a stick in her hand? She will not be able to do that. She will immediately have a feeling of respect and reverence. That's what Devaki had. Devaki and Vasudev, their relationship with Krishna was not like that. It was not on that spontaneous platform. They knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, if you read the Krishna book, you will see when Krishna kills Kamsa and he goes to the jail and he is seeing his parents and his parents are seeing him after so many years, no? They do not even embrace him. So see, you're meeting your son after 11, 12 years. They don't even embrace Krishna because they are conscious that he is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. So Yoga Maya takes you closer to Krishna, and Yoga Maya's expansion is Mahamaya, who works in the material world. And she takes people away from Krishna. She bewilders the faithless. So see, Krishna has a right to conceal or reveal himself according to his will. We talk about so many rights. No, we talk about children's rights. We talk about women's rights. So what about Krishna? Even Krishna can have his rights. So he has a right to conceal or reveal according to his will. Respecting Krishna's rights is the way to receive his revelation. Not that we challenge, oh God, if you exist, then appear. No, we have to respect that, okay, Krishna does not want to reveal himself yet because I am not qualified. So therefore, I have to work harder. I have to be more sincere. I need more devotee association. And one day, Krishna will reveal himself to us. So here, Krishna is revealing the universal form to Arjuna. Krishna is revealing his universal form twice to Mother Yashoda. He does it twice for Mother Yashoda. See, Yoga Maya and Mahamaya. Yoga Maya is in the spiritual world, and the reflection of that is in the material world. When Yashoda had given birth to a baby girl, that baby girl was actually Yoga Maya. But that very same Yoga Maya, she appeared as Mahamaya to Kamsa. Why? Because Kamsa cannot see Yoga Maya because she is completely spiritual. So Yashoda had given birth to Yoga Maya. Therefore, she is considered to be Krishna's sister. But when Kamsa, when that baby girl was brought to Kamsa, she appeared as Mahamaya to Kamsa. Who is this other personality who failed to recognize Krishna?
Duryodhan.
Duryodhan, okay. Anybody else you can think of?
Shishupal.
Shishupal, yes, very nice. So finally, Shishupal was killed. Here it's Duryodhan, where Krishna showed the universe. Duryodhan wanted to capture Krishna. Even after Krishna showed the universal form, still Duryodhan does not recognize Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead, and he orders his, and he chooses. He is happy to choose Krishna's army instead of Krishna. Because this incident happened when Krishna went as a peace messenger. Duryodhan had seen this universal form. And after this, when both Duryodhan and Duryodhan and Arjuna went to Krishna to seek help for the war, that time Duryodhan was very happy to accept the army of Krishna because he thought that Krishna, unarmed, without any weapons, will have no impact in the war. But Arjuna, he knew that even a Krishna who is completely, not going to use any weapons and not going to fight and is only going to pull the chariot, even he is going to be effective. So Arjuna, a pure devotee, is aware of Krishna's position. So Krishna revealed his position to Arjuna, but not to Duryodhana. Now we'll see the last section of this chapter.
Vedaham samatitani Vartamanani charjuna Bhavishyani cha bhutani Mam tu vedana kaschana.
O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past and all that is happening in the present and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows.
So Krishna is saying that he knows Vartmanani and Bhavishyani. He knows the present and he knows the future. So he knows everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all the things that are yet to come. So he knows past, present, and future. So what about us living entities? Do we know the future?
No.
We don't know the future. So therefore, we pass through anxieties. We don't know what will happen, how our children will grow up, how will our health be, what will be the reports of our medical tests that we are doing, and what will this new venture, this new business, will it bring me returns or no? So we go through anxieties for the future. How can we get over these anxieties? We don't know what the future holds for us, but we know who is in charge of the future.
But putting everything on Krishna's desire or wish.
Complete dependence on Krishna.
When we depend on Krishna's mercy, we know that he holds the future for us. Then we can be free from anxieties because we know who holds the future. Okay. So if we behave good now, we know that Krishna will reward us in the future. Okay. That way we can overcome our anxieties. Yeah, Neelam, you have your hand raised. Neelam, do you have a question? Okay, I cannot hear her. So we can't know what the future holds, but we can know who holds the future. So our future is secure if we just depend on Krishna's mercy. Now that doesn't mean that we become lazy and then we don't want to go to work and we say it's okay, Joanna hai aayega, whatever is in our destiny we will get. No, Krishna says you do your best. No, and then you depend on Krishna's mercy. So a student also, for example, let's say a student says, okay, I depend on Krishna's mercy. I'm not going to study for the exam. Whatever I remember. No, you have to study. You do your best and then you leave the rest to Krishna. Just as how Arjuna did his best when he fought the war. He went all out and he put in his best efforts. Wherever Arjuna was lacking, there were many times in the war where Arjuna could have been killed, but Krishna protected him. Why? Because Arjuna did his best. Krishna does not say do the best. Krishna says do your best and he will take care of the rest. So we see the present and plan the future. Krishna sees the future and plans the present. The most beautiful thing is that he knows what you are about to tell him and yet he listens. So Krishna already knows what is the future. He already knows what's going to happen. But still, when you have a prayer and you want to speak to him, you want to cry out to him, no, you want to confide in him, still he will listen to you. So how sweet is Krishna? Although he knows what you are about to tell him, yet he still listens. Okay, let's go to the next verse.
इच्छा द्वेष समुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप.
O Sishan of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate.
So Krishna is saying that the living entities are deluded. They are under the influence of Maya. Why? Because of two reasons. Because of desire and hate. Because of Dvandva. No, I'm sorry. Because of Ichcha and Dvesha. Because of desire and hate. Because of these two reasons, the living entities are bewildered by the dualities. What do you mean by dualities? The material world is full of dualities, no? Happiness and distress. Love and hate. Summer and winter. So there are all dualities. In the spiritual world, there are no dualities. There is only good. There is only happiness. There is only that thing which is pleasant. But here we are bewildered by the dualities. Why? Because of Ichcha and Dvesha. Because of desire and hate. Therefore, we are coming under the influence of Maya. Therefore, we are being deluded, Krishna is saying.
येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ता भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः.
Person who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are free from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination.
So, see, previously Krishna spoke about who is bewildered by dualities. And here he's talking about who can be free from dualities. Who can be completely eradicated and free from the dualities of delusion. Who, if you act piously, in your previous life and currently, okay, if you act piously and you engage in devotional service with determination, then one can be free from dualities. One can rise above the dualities of happiness and distress. One will not, it's not that one will not have distress, okay? Being free from dualities means one will not get affected by the distress, whether one is having success or failure, whether there is happiness or distress, one remains equipoised. That's what is meant by being eradicated from dualities. It doesn't mean that one will not go through distress. Yes, material world is full of distress. So if we act piously, which is we lead a life that is not sinful, if we lead a sin-free life, and if we engage in the service of the Lord, and how? With determination, because devotional service means we are openly declaring war against Maya, and we are in her domain. So you are in Maya's domain and you're declaring war against her. It's not going to be easy. It requires a lot of determination. It requires a lot of overcoming so many obstacles and so many temptations. So determination is one very, very important quality one must have in spiritual life. So Krishna is saying how we can overcome delusion by being free of sins and by engaging in devotional service with determination. Dridhavrata, he says. Bhajante mam dridhavrata. Bhajante, engage in devotional service with dridhavrata, with determination.
Can I have a question, Mata?
Yes.
So this verse here, so these people, they do exist other than it's like this over here? This verse is saying?
Your voice got cut halfway through the question. I didn't get it completely.
Verse that is talking like this is other than Prabhupada, there are people like that who that follow this thing, the verse that it's saying.
Yes, why not? Why not? There are so many gurus in ISKCON who are pure devotees. Why not?
Okay.
If you say that Prabhupada's disciples are not pure devotees, then are you saying that he was not capable enough to have even one disciple who's not a pure devotee? Then
What I'm saying is this verse is very powerful, okay? And you're explaining it how this verse is saying what it's saying. So basically, sinless action are completely eradicated. They're engaged in devotional service, right? Free from delusion, duality, with determination, right? So what I'm saying is that if you associate with these kind of people, you'd also become as such, right? And you'll also like think about Krishna 24 hours and engage in Krishna's service 24 hours, right? Free from duality and delusion. Then how come when we are with such peoples, you know, sometimes they have material desires, right? Where does material desire comes when their sinful reactions have eradicated and their life is pious and their previous births in this birth?
no, I don't understand what you're saying. You are talking about people who are associating with other pure devotees, and so you're saying therefore they should become pure, but still they have material desires. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that there are few people in this world that are that are doing engaging in pure devotional service. Like Harinam Sankirtan is pure devotional service, but though they have material desires in their hearts while they're doing this, and their sinful reactions are also you can see that are it's they're finishing, because when their karma comes on their face, nothing happens to them. So that way Krishna is taking away their sinful reactions, you know, but they still have material desires. So I'm just saying that how does that go together?
See, you have to understand that any spiritual organization or ISKCON is like a hospital where there are people who are sick as well as people who are cured of the disease. Okay, in the hospital you have doctors who are disease free and they are treating people who have disease. So in a hospital there are patients as well as the doctors. So any spiritual organization has people who are still materially diseased. Okay, the disease has not yet gone away, but at least they have come to the temple to take treatment. They have recognized the fact that I am materially diseased. So if somebody has a disease, they go to the doctor and they follow the instruction of the doctor, right? The doctor gives a prescription. Okay, you take these medicines and you follow this diet control. So not everybody in ISKCON is a pure devotee. It's a process. It takes time. It takes many, many years of sadhana. It takes many, many years of sadhana. So just as how in a hospital you have the diseased and you have the doctors who are treating those who are diseased, even in ISKCON, there are people who are undergoing treatment for their material disease. At the same time, because they are taking instructions from other senior devotees or from the guru or other sadhus, they are at least undergoing the treatment, and therefore that day will come when they will be free of the disease. But they are not yet free because they are still taking the treatment.
Mataji, can someone, if looking at this verse here, can someone just hear Prabhupada um, throughout their day, his lectures and his position, and just become free that way, rather than like engaging themselves into too many devotional service with other devotees that are still mixed with material desires?
What do you mean by free?
Free, what I'm saying is, if let's say throughout the daytime and nighttime, if someone just decides that they want to associate with Srila Prabhupada and hear their lectures and all of that, and maybe some other devotees, the disciples of Prabhupada, other than that, they just want to close close down like whatever they're doing with other devotees, you know, like engaging and all that, because they just want to engage with pure devotees so they can also become pure.
Yeah, but
Rather
if
than
one is, no, wait a minute. If you are thinking that Prabhupada is the only pure devotee and I don't need to associate with other devotees, then that is again Vaishnava aparad.
but Prabhupada will send you na to he wants whoever
So,
he
but you
wants
are
to.
committing Vaishnava aparad by thinking that so and so is not a pure devotee. So when you commit an aparad, then that
I'm
is a
talking
serious
about mixed
crime.
devotees. I'm talking about mixed devotees, those people that are mixed with material desires. If somebody doesn't want to associate with them and, you know, just is satisfied hearing Prabhupada's lecture and like that, can they also go about like that?
Listen, Shri Hari Radha Mataji, the point is, who are we to judge if somebody is a pure devotee or a mixed devotee? How do we know that?
By the association, by what the association does to your
So
heart
if
and
you are associating with someone and you think that the person has material desires, then you take the good from that person. Everybody has something good to offer as well. Why do we focus that he has material desires? Why don't we take something that the person is doing good? Maybe he's chanting his rounds very well. Maybe he's a very good kirtaniya. Maybe he gives a fantastic class, or maybe he's a very good cook and he makes excellent meals for the lordships. So there is always something good that we can take from the devotees. We should not think that so and so is a mixed devotee, so I don't want to. So no, that is again Vaishnava aparad.
okay, okay.
जरामरणमोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्म तद्विदुः कृत्स्नम् अध्यात्मं कर्म चाखिलम्.
Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman, because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities.
Now Krishna is talking about those intelligent people who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death. See, so Jara means old age, Marana means death, Mokshaya. So they want liberation from old age and death. So those people who want liberation from old age and death, they take refuge in me in devotional service. Why again? Because it's only Krishna who can give you liberation from birth, death, disease, and old age. Because as we discussed, Krishna is Mukunda. So Krishna is saying, those intelligent people who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman. Here the word Brahman means spiritual. This word has many meanings. So we should be careful. What is the meaning that has to be applied where? So here they are completely spiritual because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. So these are not materialistic people. So these devotees are called as moksha kami. Moksha kami. Their desire is moksha. Moksha kami. The first three, the distress, the desire of wealth, there, and the distressed, the desire of wealth, and the inquisitive, they are called as a sakama devotees. Sakama, they have some material desire. Then we have the jnanis, they are called as the jnana mishra bhaktas. Their devotion is mixed with jnana. And here you have moksha kami bhaktas, the devotees who have the desire for liberation. Now here Krishna has used the terms adhyatma, karma, and Brahma. These three terms, Arjuna is going to inquire from Krishna in the next chapter. What do you mean by Brahma? What do you mean by Adhyatma? And what do you mean by Karma? So this is the connecting link between chapter 7 and chapter 8. These three terms Arjuna is going to inquire from in the beginning of chapter 8. So here what we just discussed, the three types of Sakama devotees, distressed, inquisitor, and seeker of wealth. Jnana Mishra Bhaktas has Jnana and is practicing Bhakti, is what the Jnani, who Krishna says is the best amongst the four categories of people who surrender to him. And in 29, he talks about Moksha Kami devotees, those who are aspiring for liberation. Okay, so three different categories of devotees that Krishna is speaking of in this chapter. Now the last verse of the chapter.
साधिभूताधिदैवं मां साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकालेऽपि च मां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासूपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे ज्ञानविज्ञानयोगो नाम सप्तमोऽध्यायः।
Those in full consequenceness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principles of material manifestation of the demigods and of all the methods of sacrifices, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death.
So one who understands Krishna as Adi Bhuta, the governing principle of material manifestation. One who understands Krishna as Adi Daivam, the governing principle of all the demigods. And Adi Yagyam, the governing of all sacrifices. So one who knows that Krishna is the governing principle of this whole material manifestation, he is the one who governs all the devatas, and he is the one who governs all these methods of sacrifice, all these yagyas. One who understands Krishna as Adi Bhuta, Adi Daivam, and Adi Yagyam, then that person can understand and know Krishna even at the time of death. Say prayana kale means at the time of death. So we know that the time of death, the consciousness one has at the time of death is very, very crucial to decide what is going to be our next body, what is our next destination going to be. So if one has to be in the right consciousness at the time of death, then one needs to understand Krishna as Adi Bhuta, Adi Daivam, and Adi Yagyam. Krishna is saying. Now, these three terms also, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, and Adi Yagyam. Again, Arjuna is going to ask the meaning of these three terms in the beginning of chapter 8. So, the next chapter will begin with the meaning of, with Arjuna asking the meaning of these three terms from this chapter and the three terms that we discussed in this shloka, and the three terms that we saw in the previous shloka. So, this is a connecting link between chapter number 7 and chapter number 8. See here, from Bhishma Dev, we learn how we must give up the body, how we should perfectly give up the body. Because Bhishma Dev, he requested Krishna at the time of his giving up the body that please be by my feet so that I can give up my body by looking at your lotus face, so that he can be in Krishna consciousness when he gives up his body. So the law of last thought, that Krishna is going to talk about in chapter 8 also. We will see that when we do that chapter. So when I share the slides, you can see the chapter summary. Here you have the summary of the chapter, and here you have a verse by verse summary, which you can read when I share the slides in the group.
Mataji, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
1 to 6 is transcendental knowledge. 7 to something, it is bhakti yoga, right?
1 to 6
It's
talks
transcendental
about
knowledge.
how karma leads to bhakti. 7 to 12 focuses exclusively on bhakti. And 13 to 18 talks about how jnana leads to bhakti.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so there is one homework for all of you. The title of this chapter is Knowledge of the Absolute. Why can't the chapter be titled as Knowledge of God? So this is homework for all of you. You try to find out the answer. Otherwise, we will discuss it in the next class. Okay. With this, we come to the end of today's chapter. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Now, one question. Is there anything unique and special in this chapter that you have not seen in the other chapters we have seen so far?
Yes, Mataji. This chapter talks about the absolute, and the other chapters before chapters were not talking about the absolute. They were talking about the this chapter talks about how you can actually become a devotee and how you can surrender and everything, and how you can achieve pure devotional service, like how you listen to Krishna's instruction. But the other first chapters were like they were just Arjun was talking to Krishna.
Okay, anybody else wants to try?
Maybe it's about the knowledge of the Lord, and mostly how you can know how to surrender, and it's also talking about mostly about bhakti yoga, which before it is the purest of services or devotion that we can render unto the Lord.
Okay, see, there is bhakti in every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. There is bhakti. You cannot say that there is no bhakti in the first 6 chapters. Okay, so that's not the answer I'm looking for. There is more, it
chapter is
focuses
talking
more
about-
heavily in the middle 6 chapters. That is a different matter. More heavily it is focused in the middle 6 chapters, but there is bhakti in every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.
This chapter is talking about knowing this, you will not know anything further. One of the verses in this.
Okay, the answer I'm looking for is that this whole chapter is spoken by Krishna. Arjuna does not speak even a single verse in the entire chapter. Okay, because this chapter flows directly from Krishna's heart. Everything is flowing naturally from Krishna's heart. So
And
it's no verse that Arjuna speaks in this entire chapter.
because he doesn't ask a question, if I'm not mistaken, right? At
Yeah.
the start.
This chapter does not begin with Arjuna asking any question. Krishna starts to speak Bhakti Yoga because this subject matter is very close to his heart. So even though Arjuna has not asked him to explain in detail, Krishna just explains. So it is flowing directly from his heart. Okay, we'll end today's class. We will begin chapter 8 in the next class of Krishna so sanctions. I think you have one more week to submit the exam. For chapter
Yes.
7. Yes, 1 week. Okay. All right, then have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. See you all next week if Krishna so sanctions. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
जय अजय श्री राम माता जी की जय, अजय जय पताका महाराज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री भागवत गीता की जय। थैंक यू माता जी, कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम।
Thank
जय
you.
श्रील प्रभुपाद।
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Mata